Hello everyone, Time to Grind here, and today I wanted to talk about Ziggurat 2. And Ziggurat 2 is a fast-paced and hectic roguelite FPS that just came out in early access that is a ton of fun, and it has one of the most satisfying progression systems in a roguelite that I have played recently. Before we get into the review though, I do just want to let you all know that I was given a review copy of the game in order to make a video for it. I never let that influence my reviews, I just like staying as transparent as possible. So Ziggurat 2 is a FPS roguelite that is a little bit crazy. You use magic wands, staffs, spells, blunderbusses, crossbows, and more to kill crazy monsters like evil carrots, huge orc-looking things, flying ghosts, and more. And the game feels and plays exactly how you would expect a FPS roguelite to play. The controls and performance are pretty solid, though sometimes later in the game the frame rate can drop a little bit, so I definitely hope that gets improved. And in the game you have these starting wands, and the starting wands have infinite mana, it just takes some time to regenerate, and then you have 3 different types of ammo, and all the other weapons in the game besides the starting wands correspond to one of these ammo types. And you have very limited ammo in the game, and you can find more by killing enemies. One thing I will say is it is slightly annoying a little bit in that the starting wands don't do a lot of damage, and so you constantly want to use the cool, awesome weapons you have, but you run out of ammo very quickly. And the enemies in this game have a lot more health than you would expect. It's almost like every single enemy is a bullet sponge. And so it may be because I just love super fast-paced gameplay and, the game gives that, but the enemies in themselves have a lot of health sometimes. And when you're kind of punished for using your ammo for your main weapons because you know in the back of your mind that you should be saving it for a boss fight or something like that, it can kind of make the fights feel sort of slow because you don't want to use the super powerful weapons and instead you're just kind of using your basic wand. And if you are using your awesome weapons, you kind of just feel, at least me anyways, I just felt bad knowing that I should be saving that. So you go through the map and you have to find a special key in order to fight the main boss. You can also find this different key in some of the maps which will open up special rooms on a lot of the floors as well. And I like this mechanic a lot because it really pushes you to explore the entire floor instead of just like rushing for the boss. And also it's kind of useful because you want to kill a lot of enemies to get a lot of the experience to end up leveling up your character and making yourself stronger. And each time you play the game, you are playing a randomly created mission that you select in an almost like payday selection screen. And this goes right along with the progression and in my opinion the absolute best part about the game. So off the bat you have 2 different characters unlocked. They both have a different ability, but other than that at the start they're pretty much the same. And every time you pick a mission you can select several weapons and amulets to bring with you. The more equipment you bring with you though, the less gold you'll earn in the run. And you use the gold you earn to level up all of your equipment. And so how it works is when you use the different characters or weapons or amulets in a run, you gain experience for them. And during the runs you also find gold like I talked about earlier. And when you gain enough experience for anything, you can level it up by spending gold you earned in runs. And every weapon, amulet, character, and everything can be leveled up a ton of times. Sometimes it just gives them passive stat bonuses like extra damage, and sometimes it unlocks entirely new abilities for them. And all of this in itself is amazing as it makes you feel like you're in an RPG where you can level up your characters and guns and give them new abilities, but when you want to start a game, you choose one of several different missions that all have different lengths and difficulties and unlocks. And so you can see all of the different missions you could play at that time and decide what you want to play based off of, what you want to unlock, how much time you have, or how hard you want the game to be. And the more missions you complete, the more missions will open up to give you access to even more new rewards. And so overall, the progression system in this game is very satisfying, and I think for an early access game that just came out, I'm very impressed. The more I play the game, I do start to realize a couple of areas that I really hope they improve on, so I kind of want to touch on those for a little bit. The first biggest issue I have is in the gameplay of the runs themselves. So whenever you get some loot in the game, whether it's from a chest or from completing a challenge room, a lot of the times I got something that was almost worthless. Because you can only hold one weapon of each ammo type at a time, if the game gives you a weapon of an ammo type that you already have a weapon for, it kind of feels like a waste. Plus, the weapons are always the exact same unless you, say, get a perk that gives you an extra strong weapon, so there really isn't too many decisions to be made in the items that you have in the game. And just say, as an example, I have a Frost crossbow, and I'm really enjoying it. And then I work really hard to get a treasure chest, and it gives me a blunderbuss, which is in the same ammo type, and so if I wanted it, I would have to just lose my, crossbow. I kind of feel completely cheated out of a reward. I think it would be cool if all the weapons had random stats or effects on them, or they could be different power levels in the game, or just something. I know that it kind of conflicts with the out-of-game progression, but something needs to be done in this department to make the decision to switch weapons more interesting. Also, the room layouts and enemy and boss variety get a little old after a while, but I assume this is going to be a big thing that they add as they update the game, just more content, obviously. And one last small thing I think could help the game is if you're getting attacked from behind or out of your line of vision, I think it'd be nice if there was a more obvious indicator of where you're being attacked from, because, if it's spawning enemies all around you and, it's a first-person shooter, so you can't always see just what's behind you, it'd be nice if, it kind of gave you an indication of where you should look at and, kind of just along those lines. And so overall, Ziggurat 2, as of launching in early access just now, it's a pretty great framework for a game. It has a solid progression system, it has solid combat mechanics, and solid presentation. I think it just needs to work on variety of the combat and runs, along with smoothing out some of the edges. So if you were super into FPS roguelites like me, I would recommend checking this out, even though it is in early access and a little bit rough, just because it is fun and it has a lot of uniqueness to it. But if you're just kind of semi-interested in this game, I might say wait it out for a couple of updates or for the official launch of the game, whenever that might be, in order to experience the game at its fullest. But if you are enjoying me talking about Ziggurat 2 and want to see me actually play the game a lot more, I made an hour-long Let's Play that I will show at the end of the video, and I'll put it in the description and comments, so definitely check that out if you are interested. And if you have played Ziggurat 2, or just from watching gameplay, I would love to know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. And also, if you guys are a fan of roguelites and roguelikes just as much as me, definitely subscribe down below, as I cover a ton of new and upcoming roguelites and roguelikes, so subscribe and ring that bell like all the big boy YouTubers say to see those in the future. And if you're going to be grinding out some games of Ziggurat 2 in the future, I wish you luck, and see you guys next time.